909 in Studio is brought to you by 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City. To find out how you can become a sustaining member or to donate, go to bridge909.org. I am truly and deeply excited and also a little scared to have the War and Treaty here today. The reason that I am scared is because I've had multiple people come up and tell me that when you all played Folk Alliance here in Kansas City, that the entire audience was in tears, and I forgot to bring the Kleenex. That I guess that was a night.
We were that bad.
Well, you know, it's like I hear that like it's not unusual for the crowd to cry. I've also heard it's not unusual for you all to cry. There were tears on stage at the Ryman.
Oh yeah, there's always tears on stage at some point. You know, we're just so grateful.
That's all her, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the cool one. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's such a funny thing because, you know, we're a not-for-profit station that plays music, and we talk all the time about how music can change you, it can lift you, it can do all kinds of magical things, but we don't often have bands that come in and say, yes, that's what we try to do. And you are that band.
Yes.
Yeah. We feel that there's no other way, especially as jacked up our world can feel at times. And it's easy to forget that, hey, man, there's so much more goodness out there and so much more goodness to create. And that's what we set out to do with Healing Tide, and that's what we will set out to do with our entire career.
So, you know, you're all about love, but the name of the band came from an argument.
Yeah. Which is a
That's
part
love.
of love.
Yeah, and it actually was an argument about the name of the band.
Yeah.
That's right. That is real love right there.
We're passionately arguing.
I can remember it like it was yesterday. Hope the camera's not picking up my twitch.
So the argument about the name of the band, it was sort of, I believe, Tanya, it was you that said, this can't be a war, there has to be a treaty.
Yes. Yeah, right in the middle of it, and he was like, "What did you say again?" And I'm still trying to make my point, you know. And he's like, "That's it. That's the name of the band." I'm like, "Wait a minute. I want to argue some more."
I just was trying to show her that I was listening.
Good man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Good man.
Yeah.
So, you know, you both fell in love with music, but in kind of different ways. Tanya, you fell in love with it pretty much through church.
Yes, definitely through church. And in my household, and my mom would play calypso music. She was Afro-Latina. My dad watched Western, so you had it coming from everywhere. And I would go to the Baptist church on Sunday and then Catholic school on Monday. So I was all confused, you know. But it just came from every angle, and I just fell in love with music as a whole.
You know, you won a talent competition at 13 that seemed to be like kind of important along the way. But, you know, I think the first thing that's just going to turn people's heads is you were in Sister Act 2.
Yes.
And you sang a duet along the way with Lauryn Hill. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's still up there on YouTube. Anybody can check it out anytime they want to.
Yes, it was amazing. You know, we were just a bunch of kids. We actually had our graduation on the set. So we were just coming out of high school. And that was such a great time for all of us that were involved. You know?
And of course, you know, you stayed in the music business. You actually had a top 20 record.
Yes.
But, you know, music kind of changed underneath you, and you had sort of reached a point before you met Michael where, you know, you were still doing it, but maybe some of the, I don't know, some of the hope, some of the, you know, excitement was out of it for you? Yeah,
the passion was gone for it. You know, things had changed, and I always listened to music from like the 60s and the 50s, and I love that whole era. You know, I just wish that I was born then, the way they dressed, the music, just everything was amazing to me. And when I met Michael, you know, he was just the energy that I needed, you know, not just, he's dusting his shoulders off, but not just with the music, but his love for people and the way he loved. It really touched my heart because it was the way I felt about life, you know.
So, Michael, your story is really incredible. You fell in love with music when you were a toddler, listening to your mom sing.
Oh yeah. She has the voice of an angel. She is so beautiful to me. I love Mama.
So you became a dad at 19.
Yeah.
And you decided that you had to provide.
Yeah, that sort of thing has to happen.
So you signed up for the military, not really thinking too much about the fact that there was a war going on.
No, I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't a Renaissance man. I was an idiot. So I didn't know that there was a war happening. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to go and do the easy thing. Join the Army. And it was not an easy thing at all.
Yeah.
Joke's on me. But
so you were deeply affected by your experience, and your superior I think this is maybe one of the most surprising things to me, is that your superior officers kind of saw you and cared for you, and in a way showed some mercy.
I think it started off as pity at first. It's like, oh, this poor dummy, he didn't realize that he's in the war. And, they had already had my background. They knew I loved music. But all joking aside, I was the weakest link. I mean, it was very visible. All the soldiers were gung-ho. They were patriotic. They were ready to do their job. I was consumed with fear. I had no thoughts of making it out of there alive. And one guy, that's all it took, one guy, different strokes, different lifestyle, to identify it and say, hey, man, let me show you something. And had it not been for that guy taking me down in Saddam's palace and showing me Saddam's piano and saying to me, when you feel lost, come down here and find your way home.
So that's an amazing thing. He was your captain.
Yep.
He took you down and showed you the piano and encouraged you to play. You didn't know how to play the piano.
Nope. I didn't at all. My mother, when I was younger, she put me in piano lessons for one day. And I quickly got out of there. I didn't want to be in there. I wanted to be a rapper like Biggie. And I thought that was going to be my life. But getting in the war and then sitting down at that piano, knowing that somebody whose mind was more tormented was able to touch it and create something beautiful, inspired me. So I was going to one finger it and two finger it and three finger it until I'm able to use my hands to create something. And I did just that. So
self-teaching, you're self-taught, piano, Saddam's palace,
yep.
Saddam Hussein's piano.
Yep.
So you're down there, and it's mainly for solace, but then tragedy strikes, and your captain is killed.
Yeah. It's weird because I tell this story all the time, and people, they have no idea how it doesn't get better, because he's taken from us, and I'm feeling the loss. My battle buddies are feeling the loss. I'm sure his wife and children are feeling the loss. And my job at that moment was to create perspective. I had to create it.
So you wrote a song for him, and it was the first song that you ever performed publicly, and you did it at his memorial service.
Yeah.
And when that was done, everybody, all of the things that you just described were lifted or eased by that, and everybody saw it.
Yeah.
And that became your job.
The military, is filled with it is not just filled with, and I have to say this carefully, it's filled with mistakes. The Army is filled with family members, people who have made mistakes and are looking for a way to rectify it. And then you see great hearts. And my superiors believe that I would serve better just serving my battle buddies, creating songs and singing to them and uplifting them. And I ended up doing that. And ironically, it was one moment where they came off patrol. It was like 3 a.m. And they always wanted, all right, Trotter, what song you write today? And they'll pile around and they'll get their MREs and they sit down on the ground. And me and Greg Kusel, he grabbed a guitar. And I said, well, I didn't write no song today, but just throw me some words and I'll freestyle a song. And they throw words at me and I'm singing to Greg's little jam. And then one of the guys said, keep playing, Greg, Trotter. Y'all got to come see this. And we go and we look over the wall. And the Iraqis were sitting down, eating bread, sitting at the gate. When they saw me, they go, Mister, keep, Mister, keep going. And we realized something, man, like, wow, music could be the answer to this war in Baghdad. And for 1/6 Infantry, it was.
For 30 minutes, the war stopped.
For 30 minutes, the war stopped every day. In fact, 2004 through 2005, after that one tragedy, we had no more. They would always come and sit down at the gates just to hear it. And then the town started to see that, you know, it ain't worth it. Now, Ramadi and Fallujah and all that stuff, didn't matter what song you were singing.
Yeah.
We're going to get you out of here. But,
Yeah.
hey, man, that's my story. I'm happy to tell it.
You know, it's thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And you know, this is you all are such a human band. And we love that about you so much. And I really appreciate you telling that story. I know it wasn't easy.
Thanks for letting me tell it.
Yeah. We'd love to hear some music if we could.
Well, change your heart on some things. This song I'm going to sing with me and my wife and my boy, buddy, Max, it's called If It's In Your Heart. And wrote it based off of one of the soldiers who had committed suicide. She went through some heavy stuff. And I wrote this song. And just remember each other during the holiday seasons. And remember your veterans and your service members, because this is the time they need you most. They feel alone more during Christmas than any other time in life. So this is called If It's In Your Heart. If it's in your heart to be something more, and I'm coming knocking, baby, knocking at your heart's door. If it's in your heart, oh, to be in love again, and I walk away from my past and present sin. It's in your heart. Stand in the pouring rain, and together we'll stand. Pouring out our pain. If it's in your heart to cleave to the Lord, you will not feel with me, and I'll release pick me when I'm down, and you give me no reason to stay here in your town. Oh, if it's in your heart to be in this love song, jump in this ocean with me, darling, yeah. And together let's drown. Yeah, if it's in your broken arm, if it's in your heart, let me hear you say na 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 na, yeah, na 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 na. If it's in your heart, if it's in your heart, if it's in your heart, don't you dare give up now. Don't you dare give up. Let me hear you say na 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 na. Yeah, na 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 na. If it's in your heart, yeah. If it's in your heart, oh, your broken heart. If it's in your heart, yeah. If it's in your heart, if it's in your heart, keep going, keep trying. Let me hear you say na 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 na. Somebody loves you, baby. Na 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 na. If it's in your heart, 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 you're broken heart.
Well, we've all just been to church. That was really spectacular. I'm really missing my Kleenex right about now. That's. Thanks again for telling that story. Like, I know that's not easy, but it's your origin story. You know, you did. People do residencies and get their chops down. You did your residency in Saddam Hussein's house. How bizarre. But, it's your story, and I really appreciate you telling it.
Well, it's our story, like yours too, ours, because the military belongs to us, and their stories belong to us, and it's so cool because I didn't do that alone, and I think that's the power of being a human being, is that when we realize that there is no way possible you can do life alone.
Yeah.
You can't win alone. You can't trust alone. You can't love alone. You can't eat alone. You can't think alone. Everything in life, if you want to win, it has to be a partnership. And that's why we create. So, I'm privileged to share just a piece of your story you don't know anything about.
Yeah. The thing about the Warren Treaty, too, is we've just talked about a lot of powerful stuff. And I think there was, several eyes tearing up during the course of that performance. But the War and Treaty is also about smiles that really are honestly just too damn big for your face. And so I'm going to say something I imagine will make you smile. August 28th, 2010.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my smile.
That's
right
our
there.
smile.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah, you're both booked at, wait for it, couldn't be more appropriate, the Love Festival.
Yes.
There's so many things that are just amazing about that day. You were both on the bill, and I believe it was probably like an artist tent or something like that where you were first introduced. Yeah. And like all couples, you each have your own interpretation of how that first meeting went.
Yes.
Yep.
But let me just set the stage for people who are listening or watching. For starters, Michael, you had your girlfriend with you.
That's a great place to
Oh,
start.
yeah. That's a good place to start. Oh, yeah. Come on, bring it on.
But anyway, you were introduced to each other. And Michael, don't mean to take the words out of your mouth, but I'm just sort of setting the stage for what could be the war part of the War and Treaty. You say that she ignored you, and she says that she is just busy trying to do two things at the same time.
I love it.
That's just a professional way to say, yes, I was ignoring you. Tanya is a very, she's a lady. You know, she wasn't going to make a scene for anything. And I also was with a lady.
Yes.
Shauna Kay, who's a friend, but we were early in dating, and she was able to see something that I saw. She saw a connection with Tanya and I. And on our ride home, it was a very interesting ride because I was very quiet, just thinking of what I felt. And she said to me, she said, "You like her, don't you?"
Thanks, Shauna.
I was like, no. Yes. And she's like, man, she's it. And, and then it was just something. It was something really, I at least felt something. I think all men kind of exaggerate the feeling at first. It's like, she wants me. Oh, my God.
Now, I'm going to call you on that one a little bit because I know the rest of the story.
Oh, see, that's right.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you feel like you've been ignored. Then you go and you do your set.
Yep.
Now, Tanya, what's your reaction to his performance?
Well, I'm running in heels higher than this across the field, and they're getting stuck in the grass to buy CDs, his CD, because at the time he was working on it. So I bought 5 CDs, and I was giving them out to everybody. I'm like, you got to hear this guy. He's amazing. And I introduced myself to him again, and then I gave him my phone number. So I was working on a project with my brother, and I wanted to have him do some of the writing, and he threw my number away.
You threw her number away. Now, you're married now, so there's no reason for the lesson.
That's right.
But I really want to take you to school on that one.
Go ahead.
You don't throw her number away. I mean, come on, look at her.
Man, I had my esteem was lower than low. I thought it was a fake number. I'm like, look at her and look at me.
He's
I'm
so
like,
cute.
We're just going to pause that and just keep it going. It's one of those things, but
No way.
She works for CIA because she found my number.
Oh, I sure did.
I never gave it to her.
I found it.
I'm still trying to figure out to this day how she got my number.
Well, I was one of the festival organizers.
Ah.
So I was able to find out who his number is.
So, people in these kind of situations, it's like, what's true, what's not true. But at least on the surface, the motivation was to get him to come over and write songs for a project that you were working on with your brother.
Well, that was some of the motivation. I mean, look at those brown eyes. I mean, they're irresistible. Yeah. And he was so funny. I mean, the moment I met him, he was acting shy, but then he was funny. He would just say things that I would just laugh about, and it was something was there.
My shyness is reversed. I am actually by nature very I can just sit at home, drink water and juice and watch reruns of Bonanza all day.
In his recliner.
In my recliner.
Yeah.
I'm not an outside guy. I'm not a social dude. Yeah. That's just me. But I love. I'm in love with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you went over and you did do some songwriting stuff.
Ate some grapes.
Yeah, I gave him a big bowl of grapes, and gave him this
I
nice
drank
spread.
grape juice out of wine glasses. That's when I knew she wanted me.
He's telling the truth. That's true.
I had her.
Yeah,
Because my friend, she poured his grape juice in like this stupid, ugly mug.
yeah,
And gave me mines in this nice wine glass with gold trimming at the top.
yeah.
And she
I
had
made
the
it.
same
I
one.
showed the difference.
It didn't take long. I mean, you all kind of knew pretty quickly, like a month in, inseparable.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't really know that you were going to make music together for a couple of years.
No, 3 years. We married, and I mean, we were glued to the hip. I mean, and with the one time we did go, like, I think it was like a week, we both got sick. I was calling him on the phone, like, I'm sick, and and he's like, I'm sick too, and we were sick. We were love sick, literally. I mean, that really happened, and we haven't been apart since then.
And you've got a charming little fella.
Yeah, I love child legend. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's one word.
yeah. He's Michael's
My little
twin.
buddy.
He's spirited.
Yes.
You wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, we can hear him. He's enjoying his hot chocolate.
Yes,
Leave him
he
alone.
is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. You actually did a record together under your name and your maiden name
Yes.
that a lot of people I don't think even knows out there. And it's really good, but it's just shockingly different than the Warren Treaty.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think that it's really good.
Because we didn't think it was really good.
I'm like, let's change our name right now.
Yeah. That's a part
They
of
won't even think it's the same people. Come on.
So it was almost kind of like slow jams, right? I mean, it was
We
like,
did some research.
Yeah.
yeah. So you put that record out, and maybe you're not happy with it, despite the fact that I'm sure the fans loved it. But it's just like, how do you make that transition from that to what you're doing now?
I got 3 words for you.
Yeah.
The Civil Wars.
Yes.
I mean, we obsessed over John Paul White and Joy Williams.
Joy Williams, yes.
And Ty and I, we come from the same background. Like every church. Hold on, Mom, yes? So I said, scratch that. We both come from another, and then, when you sing softer, you just sing like this. But it wasn't until we saw Joy and John Paul White that we realized that you can be intimate
Yes.
on stage. You can really go deeper. Now the advantage we have is we're married. So the deepness you see is real. Mm-hmm. It's not manufactured or anything. We literally live in every moment. Mm-hmm. And that's what we had to learn. We really had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
it took literally 9-hour rehearsals
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
And to fight and argue and well, you're singing too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went through all that.
Exactly. We did. And it helped shape us. It helped form us vocally, in the intimate moment. So that when we did the more robust sound, it still was an intimacy there,
We hadn't seen it in our community. I mean, everyone, when they look at us, they'll automatically assume, oh, Ike and Tina.
Yeah.
Or Ashford and Simpson. Peaches and Herb. This is what we saw. And it was beautiful, but it was one way.
Yeah.
And we didn't start seeing the other way. And we'll be honest, Marvin and Tammy Terrell,
Yeah,
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell,
yeah.
they peeked into it a little bit, but it was too quick for us. Like it was like,
Right.
man, we really need to examine the intimacy, and we learned that wow, it's affecting our marriage.
Yeah.
It's actually helping us get intimate and have devotion to one another. Mm-hmm. So literally, what you are seeing is us living out our marriage in front of you, singing it all out.
Well, I have to tell you, it's just about as beautiful a thing as there is in the world.
Thank you.
And we would love to hear some more if we could.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
The song is called
Are You Ready to Love Me?
Yeah, Are You Ready to Love Me?
Yeah.
And it's sung by my lovely wife, Tanya Trotter.
Hold me, baby. Hold me close. Cheek to cheek and nose to nose. Kiss me, darling. Kiss me right. If you do it good, we be kissing all night.
That was so much fun. Whoa, that was great. Thanks for doing that. War and Treaty live in our studios. They're playing Knuckleheads tonight. The new album is called Healing Tide, and I'm sure you'll have it at the merch table tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have it there.
So, it's like, it's one thing to make incredible music, but getting in front of people, that's hard. So, without going through the whole, way that he found it, it's sort of like as you put it, your godfather, Buddy Miller, became aware. And you just can't talk enough about what he did to amplify what you all are doing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Buddy's an amazing human being.
Yes.
First, on a human level, we connected with him, and he just really taught us a lot about how to just be in this music industry, which is, like Michael was saying earlier, connected, and collaboration. And when he came along and we ended up doing the album together, it was just beautiful to see all these different musicians who've worked with everybody. I mean, every great name in the music industry to come into the studio and to produce this record and have them play on this record was incredible.
Yeah.
He called you on his birthday.
Yes.
Buddy is, man, listen, Buddy is extremely different. I mean, like, he is unique. And he's almost as unique as Don was. Don is how Buddy became aware of us. And so Buddy just, we hadn't met him yet. And he calls us on his birthday. He's like, hey, Michael and Tanya. We're like, hey, Buddy, how are you? He's like, I'm doing good. Guess what I'm doing? I said, what? He's like, well, it's my birthday. I'm thinking, no, we didn't. Happy birthday, buddy. And we cut him off. We go, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I'm sitting in here with Emmy, and we're looking at your videos on YouTube. I'm like,
We're
what?
like, who?
Like, Emma? Emmy?
He said, she is, right?
He's like, oh, you don't know Emmy? You haven't met her yet? We're like, dude. We don't know nobody, man.
We've never been.
He's like, oh gosh, let me tell you, Emmylou Harris is here. I'm like,
oh, that Emmy.
and that's really what they were doing.
Yeah.
And Paul Kinnerly was there, one of the greatest writers of all time. He'd done some work with the Beatles, and that was just really cool to get that call.
Yeah.
So there was a sort of a breakout moment for you all, Americana Festival. And Buddy got sick. He was supposed to be playing a showcase.
Yes.
And you all get the call to fill in.
That's what they say.
Now that we know Buddy.
That's what they say. Buddy got sick because he ended up playing that night on one of our songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing here if you're sick, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. He that's. I joke about that. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he is. He looks for opportunities to push others forward.
And the bill that night was pretty funny. You were the meat in a sandwich between a couple of other bands.
Ooh.
That was one of the
incredible.
freakiest moments.
Yes.
We're like, yes, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna take Buddy's.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Who's before us? They're like, oh, just a band called the Lumineers.
Yeah. They're
I'm
opening
like,
for you.
Who's after us? Oh, just another band called the Drive-By Truckers.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are we in this slot?
Yeah. The
Switch
pressure.
us with any one of those guys, like in the forward. They're
Yeah.
like, no. You better be ready for this moment.
That's
and,
right.
And if that wasn't enough, we get a phone call from Emmylou Harris. Do you guys mind if I introduce you that night? I'm
And we
like,
never met her either. So that night,
just go
all
on,
this is happening.
Just add on the pressure.
Yeah.
That's all. Just do that.
Yeah.
So Emmylou ends up singing harmonies on your new record.
Yeah. She ends up singing a trio with us on the new record.
Now,
Amazing.
Beautiful,
She
man.
really
that is all lovely, but I have to tell you that I think that if I had to pick one thing out of all the stuff that you've experienced in that little realm, the idea of Emmylou Harris baking me brownies for my birthday, I would be. I hear that she makes a pretty good brownie.
Brother,
Oh, yeah.
that is an understatement. I wanted to fight those because they wanted some. I was like, this is, no.
I had a piece, a little. She made a whole thing. I had like a square.
But can I tell you what made that moment so special? She had just got home that morning from London. She had done a small European tour. She got home, went, got the ingredients, went to her house, showered up, fed the dogs. If you know Emmylou Harris, you know that she's all about the dogs. And then she bakes and then brings it. And I'm like, who does that? Yeah. She's like, I just wanted you to have my mother's brownies. It's her mother's recipe. And her mother's long gone, and she misses her so much. And she bakes. Whenever she misses her, she just bakes. And she baked these brownies for me, and I did eat. They were delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with some white milk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brown brownies with white milk. Woo!
Man, I need to drive to Nashville right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, Michael, you wrote all the songs for this, and Buddy ends up producing the album. And when you go into the studio, he's got all these stellar people lined up, but he wants you to take charge.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, he's a very unique dude. Because I'm thinking like, okay, you know, Buddy's going to like do this. And so they're doing wires, Buddy's doing wires, and they set it up, and he gets all right, guys, come on in. And then he just sits down. Like, all right, let us have it, Michael. I'm like, have what?
More brownies?
Right? And then they want me to sit and play in front of Jim Hope, in front of Russ Paul, in front of the great and powerful Sam Bush. Yeah. How do you do that as an amateur pianist? You're like, no.
And here's the other thing. So you are self-taught.
Yep.
So you're doing things that you figured out by sound.
Yeah.
And they're telling you what it is you're doing.
Yeah. And or sometimes trying to tell me. Because I know Russ Paul. Now, Russ Paul is a jokester. So he'll sit back and he's watching all these trained musicians trying to figure out, how did I get to that chord? They're like, I don't understand. And he's like, they don't get it, but I do. He's like, how does it feel to see thousands of dollars of education wasted in a recording session? And I'm like, oh my gosh. But, you know, again, it was all a partnership to be able to say, well, here's the diminished seventh, or here's this chord. And then for them to say, Michael, you know what that's called, right? You know what you did, right? And I just felt so honored and so privileged, and it was so dope, man. Yeah.
Well, speaking of honor and privilege, that's us today, because we've got the War and Treaty in our studios, playing for us, talking with us. This has just been a joy. We'd love to have another song if we could.
Yes, and I would like to also introduce to the audience our firstborn, Max Brown.
Max Brown.
he favors his father, but no, Max Brown is God sent. What's the next song? Little New Bern. Okay.
Yeah. Little New Bern. This song is about a little town that my family's from. My mom was Afro-Latina, but my dad from New Bern, North Carolina. And they met in Panama while he was in the Army. So this song is about my grandparents. It's called Little New Bern, in memory of them.
In my dreams, sitting on Blood Lane,
I can hear Miranda Moore sing while the morning shines away. My grandpa was a great
who said good things can't last.
Ooh, each moment that occurs leaves you longing for more.
Ooh, taste the smell of His grace. Heat your heart, I need more.
Ooh, one thing I've learned,
I won't forget it. New birth. Would you please take me back to the place where lovers pray? There is where my heart is at. There is so much more to say.
That is Little New Bern from The Healing Tide, which is the latest album from War and Treaty. They're playing tonight at Knuckleheads, and just go to the show, people. Just go to the show. Go to the show. When I heard that song originally, I just couldn't help but think about, the length of the story and how, you researched the soldiers that you wrote songs for. Those are your words, but Tanya's experience. And, that was your school way back when. And you learned well. So thanks so much for sharing. This has just been a total joy. And I can't wait to go to see the show tonight at Knuckleheads, and I hope a lot of people join me. War and Treaty, again, at Knuckleheads. Name of the album is Healing Tide. It'll be at the merch table tonight. And I say this all the time, but artists don't have to come in and do this. This is a pure gift, and we receive it with great joy. And thank you so much for gracing us today.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thank you.
War and Treaty live on the bridge.